Good morning to everyone. This is R. N. Bhaskar from Bhaskar Ki Business Baatein, known as BKBB. Every week we bring to you a policy analysis, corporate stories, or sometimes a conversation. But at this time, at 8:15 in the morning, we bring to you news behind the news. Not just news that papers give, but an analysis of the news behind the news. And this is an important day for many reasons. One, it's the beginning of the week. You've rested, and we got more news, accumulated news for the past 3 days. Second, because we continue to grow and we need your support in making us grow. So please click the subscribe button, click the like button, but extremely important, tell everyone about us. We are doing things that many people don't do. This is also a week when there's talk of two ceasefires. One is a ceasefire in India, which is holding still, and the second is a ceasefire that is being proposed for the Russia-Ukraine conflict. But before we go there, let me introduce my co-anchor to you. There's Anurag. Anurag, welcome. It's good to see you here. And the titles that we're going to cover today are given on your screen. The first title that I've talked about, that is there, is what I've talked about, the ceasefire in Europe. The second title is an equally exciting one, where the first hydrogen-powered truck has been introduced in India by the Adani Group. And the third is where investors are selling dollar-based assets. Let's go to the first story. In the last 1 week, 4 countries, UK, France, Germany, and Poland, have joined hands and have asked Russia to submit to a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. They are meeting on the 15th of May in Istanbul to work out the details, but the fly in the ointment is Zelensky saying that that he will not come to the meeting unless first there's a ceasefire. Now, the trouble is, Russia is categoric about its preconditions. Russia has mentioned these preconditions earlier, that the areas that are occupied will remain with Russia. 2, Ukraine will not join NATO. And 3, the West will not supply to the arms. The Gang of Four, I like to call them the Gang of Four, wants to push Russia into surrendering the territories it has occupied. Russia is adamant, and for 2 reasons. 1, the war was foisted on Russia by NATO and by the US by allowing NATO to expand eastwards, contrary to the agreement that they reached in 1990, where the UK head, the French head, and the US head was also there with coal and Russia. And they agreed that Germany would be unified, provided NATO did not go eastward. That promise is broken. In 2008, they went ahead and tried to expand eastwards. And there's a document, if you go to Google and type out NYET, means NYET, N-Y-E-T. No means no. Authored by William Burns, who was then the US ambassador to Russia and is currently the director of the CIA. That document's there on YouTube. That document's there on Google search. You'll find that it has been listed out that if NATO goes eastward, there will be a war. Russia warned Europe as well as USA not to let Ukraine become part of NATO, otherwise there would be a war. They went ahead thinking that Russia was bluffing. So that was reason 1. There was a second reason. 4 days after the war, both Ukraine and Russia met. Nothing happened there in February 2022. In March, Ukraine and Russia met in Turkey and they agreed that there would be a ceasefire. And Russia said, we will not take your properties, we will maintain status quo. And then Boris Johnson went, told Zelensky to cancel the treaty, and the treaty was never signed. Boris Johnson was the head of UK at that time. So UK promoted the war, USA promoted the war, Germany was complicit in the war because it was part of NATO and kept quiet, so was France. The only player that was not complicit in this war was Poland. But Poland has been hurting because the largest number of Ukrainian refugees are in Poland. And look at the funny thing. The Gang of Four includes UK, France, and Germany. And look at the status today. They're the sick people of Europe. Germany is gone. UK is tottering. And France seems strong, but it has got internal dissensions. One hopes it does not get worse. What's the second chart? The second chart also tells you how capital formation in the UK has been less than that of the G7. And UK's head has been the most belligerent of all the four, insisting that there should be a ceasefire. Unfortunately, when profits from Ukraine's land and amnesia about history come into play, all values are forgotten. The Gang of Four wants to set up a tribunal to try Putin and other officers for war crimes. Why have they not raised their voice against the war crimes in Gaza when the ICC has also said that they are war criminals? You forget one war where more people die, and you look at a smaller war where so many people have not died, and your attention goes only to the profits of land and power in Europe rather than humanity across the world. This is an ironic war where a ceasefire is being insisted upon without taking into account the global picture. Let us see what happens, what reply Russia gives. 15th of May is not far away, and then we'll know what happens. That's my story. And let's go to the second story, which is Anurag's story on the hydrogen truck.
Good morning. Today's report is about sustainability, where Adani Group has deployed India's first ever hydrogen-powered trucks that will be used in mining logistics in Chhattisgarh. These trucks will carry cargo from the Kair Pelma 3 block coal mine in Chhattisgarh to the state's energy plant. These trucks can carry 40 tons of cargo for 200 kilometers of range. In March, Tata introduced India's first ever hydrogen-powered trucks, and industry giants like Ashok Leyland and Exter are also in the race of producing hydrogen-powered trucks. But so far, this is the first time where these trucks are used in industrial output and industrial logistics instead of the traditional diesel-powered trucks. And so far, it is also unclear which company is providing these trucks to Adani. But this project is a joint effort of two sister companies of Adani Group, where Adani Natural Resources Company will source the hydrogen cells from Adani New Industries Limited, which produces green hydrogen and also is involved in wind turbines, solar modules, and battery manufacturing. The chief minister of Chhattisgarh had flagged off these trucks on Saturday, and in an interview he said that this project is in collaboration with an Indian and international energy technology firm and a major auto manufacturer. The names are unclear so far. This coal mine is also using one-of-a-kind technology called as the semi-autonomous dozer push tech, which enables operators to control multiple dozers simultaneously and from a remote location. The hydrogen is comparatively expensive to diesel as of yet, but it totally depends on how it is produced. With solar modules and solar cells in place, these the prices of hydrogen can come down drastically and can make a major change for the industry as well. But the hydrogen powered vehicles emit zero carbon dioxide as compared to the diesel or the traditional in combustion engines. And these trucks only emit water vapor and warm air. So far, Chhattisgarh is way ahead from other states in the sustainability industrial output. And this also marks another achievement when it comes to decarbonization. What's your take on this, sir?
Great story. And it's good that Tatas and Adanis are both involved in this race, except that Tatas have commercially deployed uh, hydrogen trucks before anyone else. It may be remembered that the government of India, through the railways, is planning the first hydrogen train very soon. Dates are not known, but India wants to go the hydrogen route because A, the fuel is renewable, B, it can be cheaper than even diesel or petrol or coal. So, every which way, India benefits if hydrogen is accepted. Thanks, Anurag. And let's go to the third story. The third story is also global. It talks about how investors around the world are getting jittery about the USA and they're selling US assets, dollar based assets. They don't want to touch the dollar because it's contaminated and the dollar could fall even further. And when it comes to investments, you can see even in investments, the dollar is falling. People are not investing in the dollar. Instead, the EU seems to be a beneficiary of the money. More money has gone to the EU. But the recent announcement that UK, Germany, France, and Poland want to insist on a ceasefire and want to take up a stand against Russia could mean that the EU will also crumble and the euro may not be investable because it poses a certain degree of risk. And that goes to the British pound as well. So you have a world where the dollar is hurting, the euro will hurt, the pound will hurt. The beneficiaries could be other countries, including India, if India gets its investment strategies right. At present, investment strategy, the investment climate in India is too painful, is too difficult. And that, in a way, completes my news analysis for today. And as always, at the end of the session, I take up a few questions that people have poured in comments and questions. And the first question is, where do you think Russia will agree to a ceasefire? As I mentioned, Russia has made preconditions. Europe hopes that the threat of more severe sanctions will deter Russia. The trouble is most of the sanctions are already in place. They've been in place for a long time, and Russia survived those sanctions. In fact, Russia has become stronger. Europe says Russia is weaker. The numbers tell you a different story. Will Russia succumb? No. But one more thing. To tell Ukraine and Europe that it means business, Russia would be firing its Oreshnik missile in Ukraine once again to tell them that Russia is not joking and Russia is serious. So watch the space. Very, very interesting. There's another, why hydrogen? Isn't hydrogen difficult to transport as a fuel? As I said, conventionally hydrogen used to be made from electricity that was produced with coal or with diesel or with some other hydrocarbon. The advent of solar means that under the solar, you can generate electricity and use it for breaking up water. It can be seawater, it can be normal water. The biggest bang for the buck, in my opinion, is seawater because then you get what is known as you get salt also as a byproduct. But when you produced electricity with solar, Solar splits atoms. You get hydrogen, you get oxygen. You can sell the oxygen also to hospitals. And because it's from sun, the cost can be minimal. It can be cheaper than any hydrocarbon on Earth. If they master the technology, this is the fuel of the future. As I said, because it is eco-friendly and it's renewable. How do you transport it? You liquefy hydrogen. It's hazardous, but you can liquefy it. And the first hydrogen trains are coming up, which means you can carry it in trains as well. So that brings me to the end of today's discussion because we've run out of time. But since it's the first day of the week, please have a wonderful week. And yes, don't forget, please click the like button. If you like this program, click the subscribe button. But most important, tell everyone about us. We want our numbers to grow because what we talk about is news behind the news. It has a relevance that people need to understand. Thank you very much for watching this program and look forward to seeing you once again tomorrow. Take care. Good luck.